Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Astral Tourist. So lately I've been having some pretty dull dreams and some astral projections in various small worlds. You know, I'm losing my bags, I'm missing my flights, missing the bus and all of this stuff. So they're just the typical ones. And I already have the more interesting mall world experiences saved up in a playlist. So you can check those out in the playlists I've made. But today, I didn't want to go over more mall world, especially without, anything particularly interesting about them. Today is a blast from the past. And my regulars might recognize it from years ago. This is all the way back from 2020. I'm really diving deep here. And this was going to go in a book that I never finished. I still do plan to finish it, but I see no reason to not go ahead and do it over again here for those that haven't had a chance to hear about it. So this is Hockey Puck World and MicroCausality. So what I'm going to do is I have not read through all of my notes or listened to my previous episode in ages, right? And so what I want to do is kind of relive it with you as I go through them again. I'm going to be reading, but also interjecting my current thoughts about the experience. And so, if I pause or I, have some emotion or I get off track or something, I'll try to limit that so that we can be immersed. But, I didn't want to read it first and then make edits and stuff after the fact. I want it to be like it was when I was there in the experience. And so here goes. So I have this down as December 13th, 2020, another long winter's night, I'm sure. I get some of the most intense astral projections in the winter. Oh my gosh. In the summer, it's too hot for me. I wake up more often. So anyway, here I go. It says, I became aware I was astral projecting while I was in a store with 2 or 3 other ladies. They felt familiar. I knew I had seen them before. One informed me there was going to be an award ceremony for one of the other ladies, and we were getting all dressed up to go. Apparently, I had become lucid just in time. So I've had these other experiences. This is me interjecting now, where I'm getting dressed up or, ready to match the event, so to speak. So, this was already something familiar. Something I didn't write is I felt a little bit rushed, and I remember that now, but I didn't write that down. So already other memories are trickling back in. Anyway, and back to the notes. I quickly chose a silky, glistening emerald green dress. And I like to choose bright colors since I know I'm usually fairly misty looking in my astral form. And that was the same way 5 and 6 years ago. So yeah, I hoped it would be bright enough since I didn't have time to look in a mirror this time. And I don't know why I didn't think to do the 360 at the time. I don't remember that part. But I remember it being really bright green, really emphasizing that in my mind. I'm bright green. Wizard of Oz green. I don't know. Wizard of Oz wasn't in the notes. So the lady directing us there did something with her hands, and everything faded out. I tried to see her method of transporting us where we were going, but I missed it. It says here, as I struggled to get more clarity, I briefly saw us on a large ship with large windows. Bright blue water was rising all around us. I do remember that, and I remember feeling the motion of that now that I'm back in it, so to speak. I was also covering a good amount of land in the distance, and I'm not sure what that was about. I don't remember a dual awareness there, but maybe there was. Continuing on, I felt a little nauseous and like the ship was tipping far to the left. It was possibly sinking, but no water was coming in. And so it says here, I thought about flying out the window, but everything faded out again before I could. And I wrote here, I'm really happy I didn't. or I wouldn't be able to share the rest. So was an unstable experience, which then stabilized. And that's important. And usually it's better not to shift out a window or something. But at that time, I was feeling I remember that awful feeling, actually. Not fully, but it's coming back to me. And if I hadn't stabilized, I would not have the rest of this to share. So anyway, we all appeared outside a large building where the award ceremony was to be held. Now, the lady to receive one rushed inside this building while the rest of us tried to find seats. Most of the seats had been taken already. I found one towards the back, but I couldn't see or hear anything from that distance. And that is an ongoing issue for me. I'm interjecting here. Usually it's better for me to be close, like front row, or if I even still can't hear people, have them touch my hand or come talk right in my ear. Sometimes that helps. It depends on my energy level and so many different variables. But anyway, that's my issue. I've been working on it over the years. I still have it sometimes, and you'll hear me talk about it in my various sharings. So I thought about flying over to view it, but somebody sitting next to me overheard my thoughts telepathically and let me know he didn't think that would be a good idea in case it distracted the others. And he was right. I mean, I realized that right away when he pointed it out. It was a man, I remember, but I don't remember what he looked like. And in my notes here, I say I couldn't argue with that, and I didn't want to disturb anyone during an important event anyway. So after sitting there in silence for a while, I decided to quietly make my way outside to explore. I mean, if I wasn't going to hear it anyway, and I remember it was really blurry too from the distance that I was. So I wasn't really able to perceive it very well, and I just wanted to go explore and have some kind of an experience. I remember that. I was like, well, I don't want to waste my time here. At least I can go do something. So to the left of the award building, there were some large caves. So I went in to take a look around. Sometimes these astral caves have beautiful crystals. Not this one. A ways inside, I found a small turquoise lake, and of all things, a Tibetan Buddhist monk swimming peacefully in it. Now, I can't be sure he was Tibetan Buddhist, but he had those kind of robes and everything. And here it says, he was still in his robes, making his way along very contentedly back and forth. So I was doing mantras back then too. So this, might have been an interjection from my mind. I don't know. He made a sign with his hands to say hello, and I did the same. I motioned I'd like for him to come over, and I apologized for disturbing him. I politely asked him if he knew the name of this world we were on. He said he had come with somebody else and didn't know. I mean, when you ask a Tibetan monk, the name of a world or a practice or something, and they don't know, I mean, where are you? Oh my gosh. So I thanked him for his time. He went back to his swimming, which is what he had really been wanting to do. And, I was the one interrupting him. And the water was so beautiful. I remember making like a mental note about the water and how beautiful it was, and the turquoise, which is sometimes associated with green Tara practice. So I don't know. I was practicing green Tara at the time, so maybe that's part of it. And here in my notes already, I made a mental note to remember that lake and how contented he was swimming in it. And then I made an additional note. I may use that nice visual as a peaceful meditation sometimes. And I believe I did that when I did like the 21 Taras song that I created. So yay, I eventually got to that. I left the caves and returned to the sunlight outside. This felt like a fantastically large world, and that's not the first time that's happened, right? Laugh along with me, regulars. You hear about these large worlds from me all the time. There were gardens outside the main award center, And various people and aliens were walking around. There was quite an assortment. One man had various drinks available that I didn't understand the names of. He was trying to tell me about them. He told me some were psychedelic. I asked him to choose one of those for me, since I did not understand what they were all about more specifically, like psychedelic how, like slightly, like maybe the visuals will be better, or he's going to try to trip me out. It was also kind of a test for him. I did not put that in my notes, but it was kind of a test for him too, like to see what he would give me and like if I could trust where I was at. And I know how I respond to things. I mean, I don't use, psychedelics, but except for mugwort, which mainly just saturates more colors for me. But, I have a playlist for that too if you want to check that out. But the one he chose for me had a shorter name, like 2 syllables or something. And he said it was known for having more stabilizing effects. And I'm like, what's that really mean here in this kind of locale and setting and all that? So he produced 2 short glasses, not one. One had clear fluid with just a small amount of dark inky substance. And he said a small amount of this psychedelic would be enough, like more than enough, just a little. And the second glass was filled with square ice cubes. He handed them to me at the same time with a big smile on his face. And again, here I am all suspicious, but still curious. And I don't want to wake up yet. So when he handed them to me, I noticed in particular his nails were long, sharp, and painted in a dark purple with decorative diamond-shaped patterns on them. And now that immediately now takes my mind to Vajrasattva practice, the diamond practice. But at the time, I wasn't thinking about that. At the time, I just thought they were pretty neat. So I don't know if that was a reference to Vajrasattva, subliminally or not. And by the way, I do believe this was an astral projection, but I was, our minds interpret. And so I think I also have some lucid dreaming elements going on here for sure. So this was a combined experience. And this is also when I became aware I was in a futuristic setting. Like this guy was so cyberpunk. I mean, I couldn't have made him up. So, in only a dream. And I was thinking about that. And so I meandered along with my 2 glasses, the cubes and the, whatever this thing was. And I noticed a fair number of others, it says here, had long painted nails with various colors and a design. So he was not the only one with this cultural insignia. And there were others like myself who hadn't done their nails. Again, back to my usual misty form, only I did have my emerald green dress, so there's that. And the buildings were made of a light, shiny gray material. Some people were wearing flashing gadgets of some kind. And I made sure to make a mental note about that too, which is how it got on my notes. So, as I go along, I make all these mental bookmarks when things are different or interesting. And so I decided finally to try my drink. I didn't try it when I was there with him. Remember, I'm a little skeptical there. And I, like I said, I don't use them in the waking world. No shade on anybody who does, of course. I mean, we all have our own experiences. But I figured, there's no risk in the astral. I don't like it. I can wake up. So I tentatively, it says here, took a small sip from the inky-looking glass. I couldn't taste anything, which is not uncommon for me, and I won't go into that because I already have so many other times. But it made me feel a bit off balance. I remember that. I was like, I wasn't sure about it. And new colors weren't kicking in like with mugwort or something. So I decided to not to risk drinking the rest, since I wanted to make sure I would stay lucid enough to continue exploring. And there is this fine line in the astral. and in dreams. I mean, it applies to both. You have to keep this line where you're curious, but you don't get too emotionally involved. And I have a feeling it would have been great if I had just downed it, you know. I probably would have seen some wonderful existential thing, but that would have involved giving up seeing the rest of this current location. And I feel like I knew that. Yeah, somewhere deep inside me, I know that I knew that. So I put the glasses down on an empty table that I was passing by. I think like a flea market table, but it wasn't. I mean, it was afternoon and these were all high-tech areas. And I'll always be curious, it says here, but I wasn't about to risk losing my lucidity for it. And I still am curious. Like if I could do it again, I have tried to go back and I couldn't. If I had been somewhere less interesting, I would have done that. I would have drank it down, chased it with the ice cubes. I'm not sure what they were actually for, but I feel like they were maybe for chasing it. I don't know. Or maybe like some kind of a math thing that I might have been able to perceive. I sometimes have this wonderful spatial geometric math I can work when I'm in the astral, and I have no clue what it means when I wake up. Ugh, go figure. But for some reason, it also, I made this note. It did not occur to me to pour it over the ice cubes. And who knows? Maybe that would have, been a whole different result. I will never know because I did not think about it in the moment. And that's okay. I mean, we're always going to think back and wonder what we could have done differently, right? But, that's the past and we're moving forward. So, that's not helpful, but I do think about it. As I looked around some more, I found a lady selling small objects at a counter there in the gardens. Now, this part I don't remember, so this is going to be almost like new for me at this point, too. She was smiling and seemed pretty lucid. So I asked her if she knew the name of the world we were on. And, I keep going back to this because I reality check constantly. And that's one of the things I insert inside my reality checks. Like, look where you are, ask questions. And she said puck, hockey, or maybe hockey puck in your language. Like she was trying to tell me in different languages and styles and ways of telepathy. And even she said, it depends how it translates. And then she says, you're from Earth, right? And I answered, yes. Tingles all over. Like, I'm getting them mildly now. But at the time, I was like, yes. And, it's coming back to me now. It is. And the way that she did it is what's coming back. The way that she said it. And so before I could ask her more about the hockey puck translation, she explained that she knew it was an odd name for the place. She was already like ahead of me, like 3 steps, 4 steps, 20 million steps ahead of me. I don't know how many, but she already knew what I was going to ask and why I was going to ask it and all of this other stuff. And it's all flooding back in now. And I love this. This is why I don't rehearse and stuff, because it's raw that way, right? And so she went on about how the man who created this particular world likes micro-causal worlds and hockey. So this guy is a scientist, I think, of some kind. And then she pointed out a gleaming metal statue in the shape of a hockey stick. And I let her know I understood it was a created world and thanked her for such an in-depth explanation. I mean, I don't even know how to describe the telepathic processing there and the language not being the same, but she got the point across. I think I missed some things because my notes continue, but it sounds like I had been walking along or something. And here's what they say. Later, I saw some men tapping tiny packages of flowers, which made them appear larger and instantly in people's arms. So I asked about how that was happening. And I was told it's a typical function in micro-causal worlds and that I should study that. And I told them I was too old for many years of study because humans don't live very long to begin with, even if they live to 100, but that I would definitely be looking that up. And, whoever I was speaking with was happy with that. And so next I approached another counter and asked about buying some packages from it. Like I wanted a souvenir or something. I don't know. I just wanted to make extra sure I would remember this place, And the lady at one said my energy signature was not on file as a resident. So I explained that it was my first visit and I had come with friends for the award ceremony in the main building. And she said that means I have a 1-day pass and I should make the most of my time before I wake up, meaning I can't buy anything there. And that was fine by me. I mean, I was just like, okay, I get it. It's 1 day, one astral day, that could mean 3-4 days mentally or something, I don't know. But I thanked her. And I decided to explore some more instead of looking at packages I could not buy on a 1-day pass. So another lady, my thoughts were all over the place, right? Like, how do you say it? Like bleeding thoughts, but not like blood, just thoughts leaking out. I was loud. I was not guarding my thoughts at all, like the fairies taught me, So another lady heard me telepathing about the 1-day pass with the lady behind the counter. And she said her pass had just expired. And she even explained she was still asleep and wanted to see the ocean. So I agreed to go with her to explore the ocean because I figured I was on limited time too. And if that's the one thing she wanted to do and she wanted company, I was all for it. And, so we went, I followed her, and she took me to this really peaceful looking crystal clear light turquoise area with small bumps in it. They weren't moving like waves do, but they didn't seem alive either. Like it was not an earthly ocean, and it didn't even seem like an alien ocean. It seemed like an automatically generated place, like a virtual reality ocean. And so that was the structural shape of it. So we had been looking down at it. She had given us the scene, like she was making the scenery now, this lady. And she wanted to jump in, so I jumped with her. And I don't remember if we actually held hands as we both jumped or not. And at the last minute, I kind of chickened out. I decided to try and float above it. And I don't remember feeling fear, which would have woken me up. And I'm not sure why I changed my mind, but I decided to float. So we're going down and suddenly I'm floating there. I wavered a bit, but managed to hover. And she went down on in. And then she popped up flailing and went back on down. So I tried to catch her arm when she was flailing, but I wasn't in time. And a few minutes later, she eventually rose back up. And her report about what she saw was she couldn't find anything down there except for the water. So there was no wildlife, nothing else to see, just this water. So we went back to the garden area of this whole entire place and found a building that looked like a museum, and that was open to 1-day passes. So we could go in there, finally a place we can do our 1-day passes with. Not that we hadn't done so much already. I mean, I already had, and she had whatever her experience was. And then, we did the jump and I didn't go in. Sorry, whoever you were. I didn't go in. But anyway, there was a 3D forest display in this building. So we entered that area of the museum and it became super virtual reality. It was so trippy and futuristic. There were tall trees that looked like redwoods, only there were also what looked like miniature pine cones growing right out of the bark. Now, this is not how pine cones happen, for those of you that are not familiar with redwoods. They do not grow out of the bark, so this is totally an astral kind of a thing, or astral wildlife. It made me wonder how much trees, have changed in the future, and was that even a possibility? And at the time, I should have been thinking about it, I think, more VR style, but I wasn't. I mean, by that time, my energy was waning in the astral there, and I was just spending time with her, and we were having fun, and I did not over-process that at the time. So it says next, the lady I was with began to get a bit less lucid and uncertain about the forest, meaning she was losing lucidity. She didn't know it was a virtual area anymore. And I explained, I've been to many forests on my planet, and this one was just a good representation. I was trying to tell her VR without saying VR, and I don't remember why I did not want to say VR. I don't know if it was the language difference and why the word representation mattered more, but it did. So my notes continue. If anything, it was too good, which is another reason why it wasn't, I was trying to tell her it's not, totally real. It's too good. And the path we were on was neat and tidy. Like, I was pointing these things out to her, like, remember, we're in the astral. We're sharing something here, but it's, not, important in the way that it's real. There were no leaves or sticks to walk over. And she started to wonder if wild animals might be in it. So I reminded her again, we're just in a museum, in a representative of a 3D forest. And a little bit later, I could not see or find her. So I think she woke up. And I've had others do this for me too. When I get less lucid and I'm like starting to wonder where I am, I've had people remind me, hey, you're in an astral projection. Or they'll say, hey, you're dreaming. And I'm like, am I astral projecting? Because usually my dream characters don't tell me I'm dreaming. They're like, why are you asking questions? And so, in the astral, it's kind of given and give more, and then others help you too. So my notes, I'll just get back to my notes. So it says here, once I made my way to the other side of the forest path, I went through a door into an ordinary looking indoor room with chairs. So this is the dream transition into waking up. An older looking man and woman were sitting patiently, also waiting to wake up. I noticed they had a cute pug dog who was hanging out under some chairs on the other side of the room. They gave me permission to pet him if he would come out from under the chair. So I opened my arms wide and said, here, come get pets. He came over, but just to my feet, and did not come into my arms. I remember petting him, and I noticed he had a huge futuristic neon-looking collar on. It had bright colors and lots of digital information embedded in it that I could not understand. And I've seen things like this before in like the more time travel astral projections I've had. So again, I'm thinking this is futuristic. And suddenly, this cute little pug dog ran in circles a few times around and then jumped in my arms. And it was, I don't know how to explain it, but it was wonderful. I was like, wow, I get to spend time with this pug. I loved it. I mean, it was like, whoa. And then I noticed his nails digging into my right shoulder. And if you've ever had pets, you know how they can be. And it was like this dog felt really familiar. Like, I don't know if I had him in a past life or not, but it felt very familiar. And, my cats have done that, and the ones I used to have and that have passed on and stuff. So I don't know. I also noticed that I had a thick brown jacket on, and the nails didn't really hurt like they normally, like when a pet is grabbing you and their nails are sharp, you feel it, but I wasn't. I just perceived it. And again, there's that mirroring with the guy earlier with the purple nails with the diamonds on them. So I don't know if that's totally relevant. Maybe so. I've put all this in ChatGPT and in these other processors, and it just keeps coming back to me that I'm metacog and what's the other word? Systems-oriented thinker. Yeah, that's me. The people apologized, but I told them I knew he didn't do it on purpose, and I was still just like living all over this dog. And then I woke up. So that was the experience from 2020. Thanks so much for tuning in. I now have a music channel. If you would like to help support the channel, I have a Patreon with some donation buttons, but really, I'm also on Apple Music now, or iTunes, or whatever it is, along with Spotify and stuff. I don't have that many songs up yet, but you could actually just buy some songs or listen to a few streams, and that would help me out. So thanks for tuning in. No stress or anything about the rest. Just if you wanted to. Happy astral travels.